Hello everyone, and welcome to my Spider-Man PS4 review. Spider-Man PS4, what a journey. I got this game on launch day and finished it just last night. Well, at the time of me uploading this video. This is going to be my review of it. Spoilers are definitely coming, so be warned about that. However, before you click off, here's a brief spoiler-free review for you. Game's gorgeous, like, it's beautiful. Forget what people said about graphical downgrades, it's absolutely gorgeous. There's tons of activities to do, story is spectacular, swinging is the most amazing thing to do, even after all this time I played the game. Combat is fast-paced and fun, and gadgets are a nice addition to the combat. The new suits are great too. Now that we have got that basic stuff out of the way, it's time to talk spoilers. So basically, this is the whole long section where I talk story. I gotta just say, Yuri Lowenthal, after this game, is my second favorite Spider-Man of all time. Seriously, he does a superb job of not just Peter Parker, but also Spider-Man. I like this story because it brings the humanity out again to the level of the Raimi trilogy. Not saying Tom Holland doesn't have humanity in his films, because he certainly does, just not quite on the level of the Sam Raimi films in this game. And it also brings back the struggles of adulthood that we all know and love from the Raimi films too. Specifically Spider-Man 2. The struggles of the double life, financial issues, although I think we could have done more of that than in this. It's only really talked or shown about like twice in the whole entire game. One thing I like is we have a more seasoned, more veteran Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Man for about 8 years, almost a decade. He's seen things. He's went across almost all of his villains you can imagine, except for a few that you would think he would have come across in his 8 years. But surprisingly, they're not. Some who that he does not come across is Norman Osborn as Green Goblin, Harry Osborn as Green Goblin, and Venom. He has not come across either of those. And at the point of the beginning of this game, he has not come across Dr. Octopus. But yeah, we get a more experienced Spider-Man, so he knows a little bit more about what he's doing. He's a bit better at everything, so people know who he is for the most part. All the people who need to know at least. So it's just nice to see a more experienced one rather than someone who's just new to it, experiencing their powers. Someone who would consider giving up, like Spider-Man 2, or someone like Tom Holland who's struggling with his powers and just now learning about them. I want to talk about the villains really quickly, because the villains is kind of weird. It starts off and you're like, okay, so the villain of this game is Martin Lee, which is Mr. Negative. You'd think he's the main antagonist. He seems like the main antagonist, and that's the thing that I really like about this, I was about to say film. I'm treating this like it's a movie, okay? Because for the most part, this is a big interactable Spider-Man movie, and it is probably what, if it was a movie, it would be my second favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. Spider-Man 2 is still number one, sorry. But the villains, I like what they did with this game. They had, it seemed like Martin Lee was the clearly the main antagonist, and then out of nowhere they just throw in Otto Octavius as Dr. Octopus. I want to talk about him because he's awesome. You start off and he's just a likable dude, you know? He's just a guy trying to make a difference, but he's got a little bit of rage inside of him for Norman Osborn for being wronged by him, just like Martin Lee does, but, you know, in his heart, he's still a good guy. Both of the main antagonists, the main antagonist of Act 1 and 2, and the main antagonist overall of the game, which is Dr. Octopus, both have this sort of good to them, and then they've just strayed away from good. That's basically the villains of this game. Throughout the whole entire time, you know he's gonna eventually turn Doc Ock every single time. From the first moment you're with him, he's talking about like prosthetic arms and stuff, and you're working on that, and you're like, oh, I know exactly where this is going, and it does go there, sort of, just towards Act 3, which I like this. This seems like this is a thing that Spider-Man movies do quite a bit. Or at least Spider-Man 3. It's like, hey, in Act 3, we're going to introduce the real main antagonist of the film, and that's, in this game, Dr. Octopus. He turns into him at the beginning of Act 3, and then he assembles the Sinister Six. Wow, Sony, you finally got a Sinister Six on something that wasn't comics. Congratulations. Well, Sony doesn't have it doesn't control the comics, but congratulations, Sony. You actually got the Sinister Six. You tried with Spider-Man universe you were trying to set up with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, You were forcing them in there, and you were probably going to go down that route with the original Spider-Man continuity that Sam Raimi was doing, but that never happened. But in this, they finally do it, because in a video game, you have that amount of time. Like a 20-hour story, you have that amount of time. Plus the fact that he is more seasoned, so it's not like, oh, we don't have to introduce all these guys, like getting their powers and whatnot, and him coming across them for the first time. They can just be villains that he's had before coming together with this new leader, that being Doc Ock. So I like the Sinister Six in this game. I think that they were very well done, and Act 3 is literally just boss fight the act. So now we're going to talk about the other characters. MJ was actually useful for once. Surprise, surprise. I feel like this game's the only Spider-Man piece of media other than comics that actually know what to do with MJ. I don't even know if comics really know what to do with her, honestly. But this game actually knows what to do with her. You do play as her quite a few times. Miles Morales is also in this game. It does know what to do with him. He does the job well. You get to play as him a couple of times. And just there's other characters, but for the most part, the main characters with any development are the main antagonists, Peter Parker / Spider-Man, and I'd say MJ, but not really, but kinda, and Miles. But those are basically all the very important characters. Also not Harry Osborn. There's also Norman, who I feel like gets a good amount of character development and whatnot. I don't know. So now we're going to actually be doing something that I should actually be in a game review. I'm sorry, I'm a story nerd. I like story over everything else. So we're going to talk about missions and gameplay. Missions have a good variety to them. They're not just all beat 'em ups. There's quite a few stealth missions. There's quite a few science missions. There's quite a few discover the secret missions, and there's all sorts of missions. There's quite a few missions that are legitimately just cutscenes too, which is kind of a bummer, but oh well, what are you gonna do? I guess it's nice to have some things like that. The overall gameplay of the game is very smooth, very fun, very fast paced. I could not recommend this more for the gameplay that it has. Discord is going off. Okay, I'm gonna just mute my PC's audio for a second because this is ridiculous. But gameplay overall, there's a lot of variety to some of the missions. Not all of them, but some of them. Some of them are legitimately just beat 'em ups. But you know, you get kind of what you paid for. A good Spider-Man adventure with a little bit of my favorite missions are definitely the stealth missions. I will say that much. And just the gameplay, the world, the city, all of it's beautiful. The Avengers exist in this, and so it's nice to see a more developed Marvel Universe. Wakandan Embassies is there, Doctor Strange's building is there, the Avenger Tower is there, but Spider-Man never joined any of those, so I don't know where all those people are, but hey, they're there, they exist. There is room for a setup Insomniac Marvel Universe, or if just other developers want to make PlayStation exclusive, so go on ahead. PlayStation exclusive Marvel games, just do it already. Probably just Spider-Man games. I want to talk about sequel for a second because it does leave an ending open for a sequel. Doc Ock thrown in prison, but he obviously has a hatred for Peter Parker as Spider-Man now. I will also throw in, I like that sort of relationship that he had with the villains, specifically Doc Ock. And Miles gets bit by a spider, so he has spider powers now. And Norman Osborn has Harry in his, like, little dungeon place or whatever, and he has a symbiote-looking thing. I don't know if it's actually a symbiote, but he will try to cure Harry, and it looks like some sort of Green Goblin stuff could go on. But, yeah, that's basically... I really hope there is a sequel, but yeah, that's basically my overall review of this game. If I were to give it a rating, I'd say it gets a 9 out of 10, honestly. This game there's not really any flaws that I can think of. Maybe there's a few flaws out there. I would say it's too short, but it flowed well as a story. I don't know. I wish it was longer, but at the same time, I think that it was alright. I can't really think of any cons. I'm trying to think of any, but I can't right now. Anyways, 9 out of 10. Definitely would recommend it. If you're Xbox only, I'm sorry. PlayStation gets this one. We win this round. Really great game. Go out, buy it, play it. You have to if you're a Spider-Man fan. Yeah. Just like and subscribe for more content like this. Let me know if you'd want to see more Spider-Man PS4 videos, because I am thinking of potentially doing more. I'm not sure, though. And, until the next one, which could be later today, could be nowhere near now, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Just to throw in, photo mode's like literally the greatest thing ever. I spent way too many times on missions that I should not have, just messing around with photo mode. It's so cool. It's the best thing ever. Oh my god, I can't get enough of it. You can do it in cutscenes. You can do it at any time with any character. It is just amazing. Here are some of my masterpieces with it. All right, that's all. Just throwing that in at the end of the video. All right. Yeah. See ya.